Hi, today we're taking a look at Studio Series 8601 Jazz. Jazz was one of the main characters of the original Generation 1 cartoon, being voiced by Scatman Crothers. He was also one of the characters who survived the 86 movie, even if the actor did not. As many of us who grew up watching remember, he was, the guy who talked jive. He had a certain rhythm, and which Scatman Crothers is, of course, known for with all of his different roles. But he definitely stood out with having a personality more than a lot of the other Transformers did. And with that, he's been a fan favorite for those of us who grew up watching the cartoon. I don't really know much about the Marvel comic run, but since then, if there is a Transformers series, if there's no Jazz, it feels a little off, with the exception of being animated, which introduces him much later on, and Prime, because of, I have no idea why. But Jazz has always been there. He's been Optimus's right-hand man, whereas Prowl was second in command on Earth. Jazz was one that Optimus went to. And he had a very cool look. He had that beautiful Porsche look, with the beautiful racing stripes and the number 4, whereas this one has 14, for legal reasons, but he definitely stood out. And one of the sad things about Jazz is because he was a Porsche, modern day Porsche won't license the toy. And it sucks because we're never going to get a Masterpiece Jazz officially from Takara or Hasbro. And a lot of people are absolutely beside themselves trying to get this figure because they feel like it might actually be the ultimate Jazz figure, the Masterpiece figure. And while the toy looks fantastic, I disagree immensely, and I do think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I'm probably gonna be one of the few people who gives this toy somewhat of a negative review. I don't hate it, but it feels cheap. It definitely doesn't feel like a Studio Series toy. It feels more like it belonged in Earthrise or Kingdom. And how simple it transforms and morphs definitely has that feel as well. It just doesn't feel Studio Series to me at all. But let's go ahead and take a look at the toy. Here we have the beautiful car mode. It does look reminiscent of the Generation 1 Jazz, as I'll show you in just a moment. It's got that really big spoiler. It's got the nice, beautiful stripe. It looks stylish. Of course, the gun plugs in up top here. He does have his feet popping off in the back. So it kind of ruins the whole aesthetic there if you see it from the back or top. On the underneath, you can see pretty much how he folds up. And he has a great update for the original toy. Here he is with the original Generation 1 modes he had. Let's go ahead and pull this out just a little bit. And as we can see here, this is my Encore Jazz figure. It's definitely seen some better days. But as you can see, the modern toy does reflect this toy quite well. Even down to this. Now, apparently I didn't have this fully transformed. But as you can see, even the underneath here, it does have the total Jazz feel. And conversely, the Pretender Classic, which is very simplified. But as far as the toy goes, it is a great homage and update to the original Generation 1 toy. It looks like the Generation 1 toy, minus, a couple changes for legal reasons. And I like it. I do like it. It's just that it doesn't feel like it's worth the amount of money paid for it, especially once I get into robot mode and show you a couple things off with it. I'm going to go ahead and take these guys off here for a second, and of course bring this in. Now again, I don't usually show transformation because it annoys the hell out of me, but I do want to point out a couple things, and I'll show you as I go through here. Now transforming them is rather easy. And again, this is a really easy toy to transform. And it just does not feel Studio Series. Studio Series to me are supposed to be Masterpiece quality with a lot of cool little moving parts and shifting and the like. This is very, 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 very simplified, to the point that I honestly think that they may, like I said before, this was probably not supposed to be Studio Series. In fact, this whole 86 line, I question whether or not all of them were supposed to be in the Studio Series or not. Especially because with Kingdom, we are getting Rodimus and Galvatron. And now that you have the Sweeps and Scourge in one line and Cyclonus in another, just makes me feel like they were originally all going to be part of the same line, and for whatever reason, they decided to make a couple different lines out of it. And I understand from a marketing perspective, hey, you know, we're going to be focusing on the Beast Wars characters or the Beast Machine characters or homaging certain characters, so let's shift these other guys over. Sorry, this hinge is not mending. So I understand from a marketing perspective. After all, the Studio Series line is more for the adults, and you know, these characters might not sell as well as Bumblebee or Optimus, but you just feel like you got ripped off. At least I feel like I got ripped off with this figure. And again, it's not a bad figure, it just doesn't fit the price point. Now here's the thing I want to talk about, and it has to do with the transformation. This piece you bring down here, and then this whole piece here, you slide up, and there is no clearance. I've tried playing with it a different way, and there's almost like an automorph feature that makes it move a little bit smoother, but you have to line everything up just right. And no matter what you do, it ends up scraping. And I'll show you a little bit more. Let me get them transformed. Let me get these other guys transformed, and I'll come back and show you what I'm talking about. Now we have him in his robot mode, and I want to kind of show you a couple things. Now, it isn't really showing on this piece, but in one of the under pieces here, the paint, because it's scratching together, is chipping off. As you can actually see, his nose, the paint's starting to chip off a little bit as well, and it's because if you don't line everything right, this piece doesn't go through. And you can transform it without the two pieces touching. You just have to have this whole top part at the correct angle for it to slide through, and then you have to kind of hope that it clears. And then this piece here, just so you know, so you don't mistransform them, it looks like you're supposed to put it all the way in, but you don't. You actually bring it back up and line the tabs up to give them that more projected look. And here we have the robot mode as we're talking about here. Now, I do like it. It does look good. It looks like Jazz. It looks like an animated version of Jazz. Even the backpack looks okay. But he has no weight to him. It feels so cheap. And I mean, seriously, he does weigh more than Alternator, but this Pretender figure weighs more, it feels like. Although it is close. I might be wrong. He definitely has the whole Jazz look and the Jazz aesthetic. Now, they're going off the animation model, so he's not going to have his cool rocket launcher. But as far as articulation and the like go, it's okay. Again, it feels more Earthrise than Studio Series. Initially, I didn't think the leg even moved. And that was a negative review for me right off the bat. But then I realized it was just because these mushroom pegs are very, very tight. You can hear that. I'm worried that prolonged playing is going to break him. Or posing will even break him because of how tight that is. Now, he has no knee rotation at all. The legs actually pin in, but they come out easily so you can pose them. Foot doesn't go up. Toes can go down. He does get ankle tilt. But other than that, he's got no wrist rotation. He does get bicep and elbow and shoulder. I just wish I liked him. I'm sorry, but I don't. As far as I'm concerned, if you want the Ultimate Jazz figure, you're going to have to get the Reveal the Shield figure. And I know that's a cost a pretty penny. Mine is actually in storage right now, so he's not going to be part of this review. But, I mean, just look at him. He does look okay, but he's very, very blah. It just feels like there's something missing to him. And, I don't know. I love Jazz. I do. He's got one of the best looks of Generation 1. His transformation, you know, even though he looks like he would be the same transformation as Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen, he actually has different steps, different parts, and yeah, he's always had that cool design, and he definitely looks like the animated Jazz as he should. And by animated, I mean the Generation 1 Jazz and not Transformers Animated, which was a whole new take on the character. But, oh god, yeah, that sticker's coming off that Pretender one. Sorry, some of these are actually really, really old toys. And have been through a lot of stuff over the years. For that little jump cut, I had a phone call come in. Where was I? But yeah, so I mean, he does look like Jazz, and he does look fantastic, and he's a great update to the original Generation 1 toy. It just feels like it could have been more, it could have been better. And here he is with the Encore figure. Or collaborative. It was collaborative, sorry. From the early 2000s. He's got the nice little smirk from the mold degradation. But overall, I can't recommend this figure. I can't. Only because it doesn't feel like it should be Studio Series. It feels like it should be Earthrise at best, and on a smaller discount price than the regular ones. And that hurts me to say, because it does look good. But all the people who are obsessing over this figure, guys, it isn't that good. If you want a masterpiece figure, unfortunately, Hasbro's never going to do it, and Takara's never going to do it, as long as Porsche's saying that they're never going to allow it. If you do want a high-quality Jazz, then you want to try to track down Reveal the Shield. Or, I've heard some good things about some of the third parties, but I don't collect third party. Other than that, it is a good option if you're on a budget. But I don't think it's worth the price that they're charging you for. And if it would be on clearance, I would say, hey, it's a good figure to get on clearance. Actually, it would be a great figure to get on clearance. But to pay full price for this, or some of the secondary market prices, you're fucking out of your mind. But that's my opinion. You're more than welcome to your own. In fact, I encourage you, if you're a collector of Jazz, if you want to prove me wrong, if you love the figure, then you're going to enjoy it. I mean, if you love the character, it is a good figure, and I do love Jazz. But I don't think it's worth the money that they're charging you for. But that's just my 2 cents. So thank you very much for watching. Please hit like, comment, subscribe down below. Feel free to argue with me in the comments. Tell me what you like about the figure, what you don't like about the figure. I am tempted to keep this one. If I do, I'll probably grab the Toy Hacks sticker set to try to make it look a little bit better and less cheap. I'm sorry, Hasbro. Guys, you know I love you. But this isn't just isn't right. And it's just, I know it's just me. I know it is. I wanted something better. I mean, for as much as I love the Sunstreaker figure, even though it's blocky and awkward, it still feels good. This just feels small and cheap, and I don't know what else some more I can say about it. But yeah, tell me what you guys like and what you don't like about the figure down below. Thank you very much for watching.